Hey you! Today I want to regale you with the saga of, in my opinion, the absolute best sculpture idea I've ever had. Post-Tenebras LUX, or Light After Darkness. It started on a not so snowy day in January 2024. I had a couple of extra ice blocks that were slowly melting in their boxes due to the unnaturally warm temps that year, and I decided to carve one up. Going into it, I had no clue what it would become, but I wanted to create a mashup of the sun and moon. I started by taking some measurements and slabbing that block in two. Unfortunately, I didn't have all the equipment I usually do, so I was without the Slab Daddy. What's the Slab Daddy, you ask? An invention of the brilliant Chef Rob. Look at that thing in action. Absolute beauty. But what it does is allow you to make really straight cuts and slab ice blocks into multiple pieces with precision. I then laid the first slab down and used what little snow I had from cutting that block to pack around the base of the ice and make it stable. After stacking and sticking the two slices together with water, I began to scratch and then carve out some of the basic shapes, removing pieces of ice where I was able. Yes, I freehanded that circle. Boom, baby. After that general shape starts to take form, I break out the die grinders and do some more shaping and smoothing. Lily also came out to spectate for a little bit before she got too cold. From that point on, I did what I love most about ice sculpting: details. However, with the weather being as warm as it was, it made those details become a little softer than I'd like. Let me explain. The best weather for ice carving, hands down, is the worst weather for spectators. And by that, I mean that when it's 0 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit and cloudy, those are the perfect conditions for creating something absolutely stunning out of ice. Sadly, that doesn't usually make for a pleasant viewing experience for anyone wanting to watch unless you love the cold like I do. This picture illustrates perfectly the issue that warm weather presents for the ice. If you look closely, the ice has a matte texture. That's from the tiny particles of snow kicked up by me carving and using power tools which stick and freeze to the carving. When it's warm, the ice stays a bit wet on its surface, which invites the snow and mud alike to stick. When it's cold, though, things won't stick to that ice and it can be easily brushed off with a whisk or a broom. Later in the evening after the sunset, the ice did clear up, but it wasn't the end for this idea I began to fall in love with. Soon I began to conceptualize the same idea in a more thoughtful form. Along with the sketch, I drew a basic outline showing how I would slab that block and stack it again. For an event in Iowa, I tried again, but this time I had 2.5 blocks to use, making the entire piece much more thick. This is a perfect example of how much more clear the ice looks on a cold day versus a warm one. I loved how this iteration of my idea turned out, but I wasn't satisfied yet. The idea reached its final form during the 2025 St. Paul Winter Carnival using 2 ice blocks, which I slabbed, creating 4 thin slices to stack. If you look closely at the finished product, you can actually see those seams where I stuck the blocks together. What even are these faces? Look at us. I was so happy with how this piece turned out, and I ended up placing 3rd in the professional division for it. The statement I wanted to make with this piece was one of hope. The moon breathing life into the sun, a reminder that the darkest of nights will always give way to the brightness of a new day. Post-Tenebras LUX, Light After Darkness. To anyone who made it this far in the video, thank you so very much for watching. This is the first out of, hopefully, many more educational videos about this form of art I love so dearly. Stay tuned for more content coming your way. Check out my other social medias on screen to keep up with what comes next. And please, 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 don't freeze your fingers off this winter. This has been the Iceman, signing out. Love is frozen solid. Here.